What is up, homies? My name is Felix and I'm here back again with another video for you all today. And what are we doing here today, you might ask? I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a Drake type beat. But wait, it's not just any Drake type beat. This is going to be an Honestly Nevermind Drake type beat. Honestly Nevermind is Drake's new album, and if you haven't heard it and haven't heard all of the mixed opinions surrounding it, basically it's got a lot of like house influence, some dance hall vibes, just very different from like his usual stuff. And I personally think it's quite refreshing to hear something different coming out in the mainstream. So yeah, that's what we're gonna learn how to do today, make an Honestly Nevermind Drake type beat. Make sure you guys check out my Instagram, SoundCloud down in the description below. I'll link to play some songs I produce, beat store, Discord, all that stuff. Go check it out if you'd like to do so, and let's just do this thing. Alright, so here we are inside FL Studio, but obviously all this stuff will apply to whatever DAW you use as well. And I'm gonna base this track off of the first actual song on the album, which I'm pretty sure is called Falling Back. So the first thing we're gonna do is start out with the drums. So the main thing for the drums is that you're probably gonna have a 4 on the floor type pattern, which you can basically just right click and then just fill each 4 steps, and then you have that pattern. Probably don't wanna have a sampler though, you probably wanna have an actual sound. And if you happen to need any sounds, I know of a great drum kit called feezo's Vintage Drum Kit. So I'm gonna take one of the kicks from that kit here and just drag that bad boy in. And as you can hear, it's a little bit fast, so we're gonna bring the tempo down to like 120-ish. So another thing that's going to come in handy here as far as the drums is finding a kit that has a bunch of old vintage drum machine sounds. I'm going to be using that for quite a few sounds in this beat here. The first one being an open hi-hat that sounds kind of like this. And we're just going to put that opposite of the kick like this. And with your open hi-hat, the timing is very important, so you're going to want to adjust the out here to make sure that it's exactly the length that you want it to be. Because you can hear how this is very different from this. Just small stuff like that can change the rhythm a bunch, so you want to make sure that you're conscious of that. One thing is that this track is going to be very simple because we wanted to have room for Drake to just hop on and do his singing thing and flow over. So you don't really want to overcomplicate it with a bunch of drums and a bunch of melody sounds and stuff like that. So the next thing I'm going to do just to add a little bit more rhythm is to take an open closed hat and just go like this. And you can kind of tuck that away a little bit, so turn the volume down and maybe go like this. So this is pretty much how the drums on that first track are structured, like really nothing crazy, super simple. If you want to go for more of like the dance hall vibe, what I would recommend is taking like a little percussion sound like a bongo or something, and then putting it in right before the second kick, between the second and third kick, and then the same thing with the fourth kick here. So you can go with that if you want to, and also if you want to go for more of the house vibe, because there was that one track, I think it was called like Massive, that was totally just a straight up house track. You can grab a snare of your choosing, drag it in, and then just put it where the second and the fourth kicks are, and you'll have this. Obviously with that snare, it's got a little bit more of an 80s vibe to it, but if you put more of a housey snare in there, it'll sound more like that. But honestly, for this track, I'm just leaving out the snare, not even gonna put it in there. So now that we have our simple little drum pattern here, we're gonna move on to the melody, and we're just gonna start off with a basic pad sound. And obviously you can get this from any plugin that you want. I'm probably just gonna go into Analog Lab or something. Actually, I just made a really quick pad in PG8X, which is actually a free plugin. And basically for this, you're just going to put a very long 7th chord or something like that. Pretty much just like this. So I just did a basic little chord progression here, but it's basically just the same 2 chords. I have an A major 9th and then an E major 9th, and then I just took off this one, so then it's a major 7. Now what we're going to do is pull up a little bass sound, because the bass is very important here. You got to make sure that you get a very bouncy kind of pattern with this, and you don't want the bass to be happening like every single second. You want it to be very kind of sparse, I guess. Alright, so we got a little bass sound. And I'm just going to make a little pattern following kind of the root notes, but also not. I'm going to use the root note here, and then I'm going to bring it up to the 5th here, and then just bring it right back down to the root note. And we're going to do pretty much that, except for add a couple little accent notes here and there. Alright, so I just finished the bass pattern here, pretty much doing the same thing for all the chords. As you can see, nothing crazy here, just a nice little bass pattern. Now what I want to do is try to get like some sort of vocal thing in here. So I'm going to go into Analog Lab to try to find some sort of vocal that we can use and kind of chop up a little bit. Alright, so I found this weird like vocoded sound. Very weird, but I think I can chop up part of that to make like a cool little vocal thing. So I'm just going to export this as an audio track. And now we have it as actual audio, so we can kind of chop it up a little bit. Alright, so I'm just going to take this little sample that we have, chop it to like here, and scooch it over, and then duplicate it. And then when the chord changes, we're going to do the same pattern, except for I'm just going to play it at a lower note so that it matches the other chord. So you can just make unique, and then you can go up here and pitch it down. But we're not done with that. We're going to add a couple little plugins on here that are going to make it sound very different, but also very cool. I'm going to put a little plugin called Digitalis, I think it's called. And this plugin is actually really cool. You can probably just use like any preset here. I'm going to go with this one. Obviously, it just makes it sound super cool, gives it a very like lo-fi, distorted vibe. And then we're going to EQ that, obviously. And then pretty much the last thing I'm going to do here is add a little trick that I learned from my friend Cyrusin. And it's so simple to do, but it just sounds so good. I'm going to pull up Serum, but you can use any synth that produces a sine wave for this. And literally just pull up a sine wave. So you're basically just going to find a note that sounds good over all of the chords that are in your song. For me, it's probably going to be E. And I'm just going to put it right here. You can obviously put it wherever it sounds good. But once you have this, you can assign it to a mixer. And then you can put a little delay on it. And now you're going to have something that sounds like this. It has that little echo there, and it's just going to be a very subtle little thing that adds to your melody. One thing you can also do is put a phaser on that. That'll sound pretty good. Also, a little bit of reverb will sound good. But other than that, it's literally just a sine wave, so you don't have to do anything too crazy. So yeah, that's pretty much everything we're going to add to this beat here. The one other thing I want to show you guys is as far as the mixing goes. On my bass sounds, a lot of times, I like to add this Black 76 compressor plugin just on the default preset. It just makes your bass sounds a lot more prominent in the mix, and that's something that's usually a good thing. And then as far as the layout of the beat, I'm not even going to add any like intro or anything. I'm just going to have it play for like a full 2.5 minutes, and then at certain points I'll probably take out the vocal here and there. One thing I am going to do though at the end is add in a little string section that just like kind of fades in then fades out, probably only for like 8 bars or something at the end. And that's pretty much all we're going to do here. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, obviously it's a very simple beat, nothing too crazy here, but nonetheless I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you learned something here or there. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the new album. Obviously I know it has some very mixed reviews from people, but I'm curious what you guys think. But yeah, make sure you guys check out my Instagram and my SoundCloud down in the description below, along with the playlist of songs I produced, my beat store, Discord, all that stuff you guys already know, and I'll see you guys next time.